Welcome everyone. Bit late, but yeah. Practice 1 is underway. I haven't even got a coffee. Yes. Oh, I'll water it in a second. Oh, I downloaded 3 different ones, but clearly not. Oh, how's everyone doing? This is a big track, isn't it? How can we make it a bit larger? If we make it a bit larger, it goes too large. Look. We can't even flip it. Oh, yes we can. Don't want it that way. I think we're going to have to accept that, guys. I think we're going to have to accept that. But yeah, how's everyone doing? Another weekend of F1 ahead of us. Feels like it was a while ago now, doesn't it? Until since we had the Bahrain Grand Prix. Let's get my headphones out and see if we can bring you any insights to practice 1 today. We'll get on Sky Sports, have a look. Lots of teams have brought new upgrades with them this week. So let's go to that. Oh, so yeah, lots of people out on track straight away, not mucking about. Sainz going in there with a 34.8. Bottas on the mediums, as well as Sargent. So Leclerc this week, of course, has got a 10 grid place penalty already for new parts. Not good for Ferrari, is it? Not good for us fans either. If we want someone to take it to Red Bull, it is most likely going to be them. And Leclerc starting 10 places further down where he's going to qualify is not great. Hey, Connor, welcome, buddy. How's it going, mate? Let's see if we can... make that a bit larger. But let's get the coverage up so I can bring you some insight from Sky Sports if they have any. That is. They may have some, they may not. But going good. Just in my first rest of the week, unfortunately didn't go official. Yeah, I saw that. Only 4 people signed up, didn't it? Yeah, the daytime's not very good for F1 in general, even if it's at a good track, which is a shame. Silverstone might be a bit different next week, but W13 just being locked at A license is just not good for it. It needs to be unlocked, I think, to B license at least. So, but yeah, right. So this week the stories. So Mercedes are a team that, of course, dramatically need to improve. They brought a couple of little upgrades to the wing and the floor. McLaren's a team that definitely needs to put on a good showing this weekend, with Bahrain being absolutely shocking for them. So we'll see what they can do. It'd be good if Piastri can actually finish a race and, of course, get some time in the car. They did seem to have good pace at the end. Even though Lando Norris was 2 laps down, he did have good pace. He was lapping as quick as the Mercedes. I'm pretty sure of it. We're only just behind Mercedes and Aston Martin at the end. But because he was at the back of the grid, no one really paid too much attention to it. So I think that's why Norris was quietly happy at the end of the race, not too distraught, because it looks like they've got something to their car, but just clearly some reliability issues first race, which is never good. But if we see here, Perez is out on the softs already. The afternoon, this session isn't really relative to what we're going to see. Practice 2 later on is going to be similar track conditions or time and stuff to qualifying and, of course, the race, because it's in the evening. This is similar to Bahrain, where it's in the afternoon and, yeah, going to be very hot temperatures and not relative to what we're going to see. Merc apparently went too far with anti-porpoising, which is what they're saying is sacrifice performance. Is that what they said? Really? I just think the no sidepod concept is not working for them. They're still having issues with kind of switching on tyres. They've made progressions, but Red Bull have continued to move forward and Mercedes haven't. So let me just grab my headphones quickly, guys, as I just need to get them for, not these ones, for my phone. Because if I turn the volume up any louder, you'll hear it on stream, which will get me done for copyright. Alright. Have you had two already? Would you like a sip? Oh! No, I don't want to connect to the car. There we go. Oh, yeah, Russell said that's their main problem. They went too far with it. Maybe. Maybe. Hey, Kaka, how's it going, buddy? Welcome, mate. Oh, I've got a cold coffee. But a very fast circuit. Hopefully we see some incidents. I'm not going to lie. I think that's the only thing that's going to really spice up this race this weekend. Obviously, hopefully everyone's safe, but soon to be iced coffee in months. Yeah. Looking forward to that. So yeah, Alonso up there at the top. So what I'm intrigued by, guys, is the times from last year. So let's have a look at the times from last year. The times from last year, BBC. I want to see results from last year. So 2022, Saudi practice. So in first practice last year, the fastest lap time was 1:30.7. Just to put it in comparison. So, and these cars are quicker. Qualifying lap time, fastest lap time was a 28.2. By Sergio Perez. Of course, we all know Max Verstappen's lap probably would have been quicker, but he binned it into the last corner. So, yeah. First ever has we could got. Yeah, actually, it's good to see, actually, Lewis. We've never seen this view before of the camera in Lewis's helmet. Every driver now has one of these as mandatory in their head, in their helmets. I think we got Fernando Alonso's view, didn't we, last race? Because he was really the man to keep an eye on. Oh, that was a bit cold. So Hamilton fastest with a 32.6 on the hards. So the hard tyre is a good tyre around here. If I remember last year, so the hard tyre, I mean, it's a very high speed circuit, a lot of load put into the car and into the tyres. So really you do want a harder compound. But then when it comes to it, this circuit does have a lot of incidents, as we know, red flags as well. So having some soft tyres available is important to get the launch on those restarts. It's good to see the mirrors, yeah. But the cars do look good around here. While I'm not obviously a big fan of the location of where it is, the cars do look good around here. So Verstappen hasn't set a lap time yet. Hasn't even gone out and set anything. But let's see if we've got any news for this week, guys. Any news recently? So have a look at Twitter. This is when kind of stuff pops up. Oh, I'll tell you what. So this is really good, guys. It's the first time I've kind of seen this. Let me have a look. Where is it? I know who it's followed by. So, of course, we're always hearing, aren't we, that teams are bringing updated parts to different Grand Prix. And what I've seen today is a great... the FIA have sent out to journalists. I don't know why it's not available on their website, but if you go follow Andrew Benson, who is the BBC reporter, what he has done, I'll just quickly show you while we're here. What the FIA have done is they've broken down every single upgrade that the teams have brought this week and the benefits of them. So you've got Williams, you've got like every car. And they've sent them, I don't know why, they sent them as a PDF to Andrew Benson and other journalists. And they, like Mercedes, Red Bull, you can see everything that they're bringing and the reasons for what they're bringing. And the benefits and the gains that they're going to get from them, like supposed gains. It really breaks it down well. Breaks it down really well. I'll load that back up and I'll have a look at particularly what the teams have brought this week. So that we can keep an eye on the track map so I don't get in the way. Hey, James. What have you missed? Not a lot, mate. Not a lot. It's first practice one. There's not really going to be anything too much to talk about in this practice session because it's similar to Bahrain, where the practice session is in the middle of the afternoon, super hot track temperatures. Track is going to obviously get cooler in practice 2, where it's going to be in the evening. It's going to be at the same time as qualifying and the race. So that's more the relative practice session to keep an eye out for. I do feel it's a shame we don't see many visual updates anymore because of the performance being from underneath. Yeah. Any missile attacks this time? No. Still early days. But I'm a bit gutted I can't make... Well, I can make this larger, guys. But this is a bit temperamental. So that if I just press it once, it just kind of goes... I just want it to stop like halfway in between that. So it's a big circuit, this track. So yeah, let's go back onto that. And I'll tell you, of course, like lots of Mercedes fans in here. So I will... see. So it's interesting. Ferrari have brought 3 updated components this week. Let me save these images so that I can actually zoom into them, because I can't zoom into them on Twitter, which is a bit annoying. McLaren have brought 2. Alpine have brought 1. Mercedes have brought 2. So let's read those. And Red Bull have brought an upgrade as well. You just think Red Bull have brought one. No, Red Bull brought 3 upgrades, and you're just like, really? Like you're already so good as it is. Please give the other teams a chance. Oh. So, this is Red Bull's upgrades. Red Bull have brought a beam wing, a rear wing, and a rear wing end plate. So they've got geometric differences compared to previous versions, and then they've got brief description of how the updates work. Let's have a look at Mercedes. Where's Mercedes? All right, Mercedes, here we go. So they've brought a new rear wing and a new floor fences. So I can show you this, guys. That's probably in the view of chat. If I move that here. This is what they've brought. Mercedes on the side and a new rear wing. Anyone know what's going on with Angela? Yeah, so she's announced Angela Cullen. Is it Cullen? Lewis's performance engineer, who you always see, the blonde-haired woman who's always with him. She has announced that she's parting ways with Lewis to do new things. I assume it's probably to get out of F1 entirely and just have a life, because being in F1 is just so tiring and takes you away from your home life. I believe she has a family, a husband, etc. I don't know about children, but yeah, she's worked with Lewis for like nearly a decade. Probably earned a pretty penny as well, and just go and enjoy life and live life and take a step away from it. Eumonium, if you go, so the only place I've been able to find it is if you go to Andrew Benson on Twitter. He is the BBC F1 correspondent. I'll just quickly bring it up here, his account. Sorry guys, if you want, so he's an F1 correspondent for BBC, Andrew Benson, and it seems like they've only been sent, only journalists have been sent PDFs of this. They haven't made it accessible on the FIA website. So if you go onto that, they've got every team who's brought an upgrade this week. Exactly, yeah, it must be an exhausting schedule. So get told off in typing caps all the time because in your AutoCAD at work it's a habit. Are you an architect then, Connor? Using AutoCAD? Or did you say you're an estimator? Is that what you said you were? Bet Lewis works his team like mentor as well. I don't know. I don't know if he works his team like mentor. I think he's got a good. I think he understands a good work-life balance. So that's all right. I'm gonna call you Mel. Mel, that's okay. That's what we're here for. You're an engineering consultant. Oh, okay, fair enough. Wonder if some of these upgrades are just different aerodynamic specs for their car. Yeah, so that's more so what it is, and I don't think we're gonna get. I mean, it doesn't seem like anyone's brought any like PU updates or anything. It's more so aerodynamics. That's where the gains are made, aren't they? I think that's really where a lot of the gains are made in this regulation set. Is how these cars have adapted to having the top end speed and having the downforce, creating the downforce as well. Obviously, that's what Red Bull have been able to do over Ferrari. Ferrari still seem to have terrible tyre degradation from last year, which is a carryover from the previous year. And it seems like they've got a quick car. Leclerc probably could have challenged Max for pole position in Bahrain if he had a go at it. But in the race, Red Bull were just able to just manage their tyres for so long. They're able to go quicker than Ferrari on older tyres for considerably longer as well, because they just don't shred their tyres like Ferrari do. Hey Hamza, welcome buddy. SolidWorks AutoCAD. Look at you engineering consultants. Oh, friends, oh. But yeah, as I'm going to repeat a number of times, these times aren't really relative. This session in general isn't really relative because it is in the middle of the afternoon, similar to as we saw in Bahrain. The race and qualifying are not going to be held in this type of conditions. So this is just data gathering for the team, trying to nail down a setup, test the new parts, see if they're doing what they expected them to do, and yeah, go from there. But already, if we have a look, we're already quicker than practice one's fastest lap time from last year. So Sergio Perez with a 30.5 and Charles Leclerc did a 30.7 last year, which is to be expected because these cars are considerably quicker, about a second or so quicker than what they were last year. But Ocon needs a good week this week after the shocking year's worth of penalties that he picked up in Bahrain. Who else needs a good showing this week? The Haases need to do something this week. Hulkenberg and Magnussen both did poorly, really, in the race. Of course, Ferrari. And who else do we say? McLaren. So, yeah. I think I've had more practice with Virginian than these F1 drivers for Saudi, and I still got it straight wrong. James has done too many. Way too many. Way too many to be working full time. George is like 600 laps before one of the weekends. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, because they're going from circuit to circuit, they just to get accustomed to the circuit, and so that it's completely ingrained in knowing where you're going around it. So. But interesting that the Mercedes have only done... where's George Russell? I didn't even notice him. They've gone out on the hards and done 9 laps on the hards. A few guys on the softs. Max Verstappen up there already with 131.5. Alonso, 130.5. Loves the glory laps, Alonso, doesn't he? He always wants... He wants all the attention on him. Exactly. The laps give consistency and they know exactly where they're going. You don't even really not need to think. You're already in the rhythm, the motions, you know. You're not having to think of, oh crap, this corner comes here, or this is where this braking marker is. Ferrari, oh my god, so this is braking, guys, for braking. Ferrari say they have changed their power units on both cars for this weekend as a further precaution following Charles Leclerc's retirement in Bahrain. They're going to run out of parts. There's no way. God. Honestly, Ferrari, man. Carlos Sainz says Ferrari are in a bad situation to start the year. Oh dear. And that is true, James. That is true. I did enjoy it yesterday, like even spotting you. Although I much would have preferred to have been racing still. It was interesting and intriguing to see the strategies play out. I think we got the right strategy, just flipped. We need to flip it this evening. I think that's the right strategy. So Max goes top of a 30.494. Come on, Red Bulls. Give us something to hope for this weekend. So Gasly and Ocon 4th and 5th on the medium tyres. And then everyone else kind of below him is done. Hard tyres, medium tyres. Stroll did soft tyres but pitted after a couple of laps. Maybe coming in to make some setup changes. Most of Charles have gone out the window. Yeah, same here. I just think, so there's been rumours. There's been discussions in the Missed Apex chat, guys. Will Red Bull turn down their performance? So I still think they'll win, but do you think they'll turn down their performance so that it gives the other time, it gives the perception that teams are catching up and that there's at least, it's not as big as a gap as it was at Bahrain, so that there's not any major regulation changes that are implemented to hamper them? Because if Red Bull continue to win the races by 40, 50 seconds, as they did in Bahrain, the FIA are just going to go, right, let's cut it, let's change the regulations to hamper them, because it's not good for the sport. It'll put people off of it. We at least want it to be competitive and at least seem like that there's other teams and drivers capable of winning races. Do you think, I've got a feeling that we might see Red Bull win by maybe like in the single digits, unless there's like red flags and stuff. If there's no red flags, I think Red Bull might go, oh, let's make sure that we only win this by like less than 10 seconds, so it's single digits. No, they were completely demolished the opponents. Fair enough. Like when they hamstrung Merc going into 21 with floor cutaway. Yes. Yeah. I think they'll probably continue to develop as much as possible as no changes to next year. Hey, how you on? Hey, AI, how's it going, buddy? I see them turning it down to save resources on parts, but the other teams in FIA won't be fooled. Yeah, maybe. It's just, I think the intriguing part is going to be the middle of this year, when really the cost cap penalty comes into effect, where other cars are able to develop, use that additional time in the wind tunnel and the simulations, and see if they actually make any gains, while Red Bull are not able to spend so much time. Because if they're still so far ahead and still winning by these sort of margins, or I say still winning because that's under the assumption that they're going to win this race and further races, will the FIA sit there and go, well, actually, we haven't given them a hard enough cost cap penalty? Because how can it be that only one team breaches the cost cap and then still wins races the following year after the penalty's been dished out, and still win races by the margins that they're doing? Surely there's a flaw in the system there. Like, it's a credit on one hand, it's a credit to Red Bull and their development team and their engineering team, but it's also like, well, what's the point of the penalties if a team can breach a cost cap and still win races by that sort of margin? Hey Jake, welcome buddy, good to see you, mate. Brother, they're 23 seconds ahead of the next non-Red Bull car in the first GP. I don't think that they can close that insane of a gap. Well, Max was 50 seconds. No, I don't think they can. I don't think anyone really can. And they turned it down. They were managing the race. Like, if they let Max loose, he probably would have lapped the Mercedes and finished over a minute ahead of third place. They could swap to 24 car early this year. Might put Batmobile mode on the steering. I think the main problem is Merc and Ferrari have had to make a decent change to their previous year car, whereas Red Bull just upgraded. Yeah, I said that as well. I said the thing is that Red Bull already have such a solid base, and because there's not any major regulation changes from the previous year to this year, even with the cost cap penalty and the lack of aerodynamic testing, or reduction in aerodynamic testing compared to other teams, they're still going to be so far ahead, and it's for the other teams to catch up. And clearly, quite clearly, that is the case. Yeah. And because they were so far ahead, Max Verstappen, yeah, there's lots of understeer in this car, still goes and sets a 30.0. Think Max Verstappen will win? I think most people think Max Verstappen will win. Imagine they like give a points penalty at the middle of the season to nerf the performance of Red Bull. They won't do it. Not now. They had an opportunity to retrospectively punish Red Bull, as in give retrospective penalties for the previous year. Motorsport doesn't do that. They are against retrospective penalties, and I don't know why. Because when you break rules, so recently another example of this is the Daytona 24 Hours. So a completely different racing discipline, but the team who won, the Acura, I think that's how you pronounce it, the Acura team, have been found to have falsified data and manipulated data and tyre pressures to give their team an unfair advantage. They've been penalised, they've been fined heavily, given lots of penalty points for this season for future races, but they've still been able to hold on to and retain that win. So they'll go down in the history books that they've won that race. They should be disqualified. I don't get it. Why would you not disqualify the team and just automatically give it to second place who hasn't bloody cheated? I don't understand it. And it's the same, like they do it in the Olympics. People are found to have doped years later after they've won a gold medal. They then completely disqualify them from it and then upgrade everyone else. So if you finish second, you get a gold medal and you go in the history books, but actually you won gold because the person who won it was found to have been cheated. I don't see why motorsport is so against it. That's just the whole cost cap saga just annoyed me for that very reason. They understand their cost cap very well, so even if Merc switch their philosophy, they'll be behind a bit like Honda were coming. Yeah, I mean they're already a year behind. Unless they've got, as the rumours suggest, they've got a Plan B car, which has got side pods on, and that dramatically changes the car and the way it performs. Yeah, I think Mercedes got a tough time ahead of them this year. Albon is in the number 4. Yeah, it is only practice though. Lots more people out on softs. This is practice 1, so conditions aren't relative. Practice 2, similar to Bahrain, is where we'll see the kind of the true times come out, because it's exactly the track conditions and the same time as what qualifying will be tomorrow and what the race will be as well. So Ferrari was really close last year before they fucked up the strategy, and even in the season they have already exhausted the 2 out of 2 energy components. Yeah. So Ferrari last year, so strategy was one element to it, but the thing is, Ferrari really buggered up last year on tyres. A lot of the races they just did not have the tyre management. The car just shreds the tyres, and it was the same last week as well. Max Verstappen. So Charles Leclerc last week, to put it in perspective, guys. Charles Leclerc didn't do a final run in qualifying to save a brand new set of soft tyres, to have that extra grip at the start, because Verstappen and Perez had a used set of softs. Now, theoretically speaking, Leclerc should be quicker than Verstappen on a fresh set of softs compared to used. Now, Leclerc probably could have got pole position over a single lap. The Ferrari's pretty quick again. But Max pulled out a 10-12 second lead, I think it was, by the time of the first pit stops on older tyres, soft tyres, compared to Leclerc was on fresh softs. That is how quickly the Ferrari shreds its tyres on a full tank of fuel and during a race. And that was their big issue last year, and that's their issue this year. And that whole combination, it's a whole combination of things is what contributes to their poor strategy decisions, because they're shredding through the tyres. And that's why they've got so many different plans. They've got plan A, B, C, D, all the way down to all the way through the alphabet because they don't know how quickly the tyres are going to fall off. And, well, quite clearly, they shred through them very quickly. And they're always having to go to plan bloody C, D, etc. And they're having to pit earlier than they'd like to. So, until they sort that out, Verstappen and Perez are just easily going to go longer and quicker than the Ferraris on any tyre. That's why the Red Bulls stayed on the softs for so long last week. I think the second stint, Max went longer on his brand new set on his second set of softs than Charles Leclerc did on a brand new set of hard tyres. That's 2 compounds difference there, and the Red Bulls are just able to make them last so much longer. And then you've of course then got the pace difference of a softer compound tyre as well compared to the hard. So yeah, it was a real eye opener in regards to how good Red Bull are last week. It wasn't just their pace, it was just everything, absolutely everything. I hope it's Aston Martin beat Merc in the standings. Mercedes will give Aston Martin their best engines instead of Merc. I don't know. I don't know if that's a rumour. I can't ever imagine that would be the case. They're the works team at the end of the day, Mercedes. It is. I don't know why would Mercedes give Aston Martin their engines. I mean, there has been rumours and talks, and I think Christian Horner confirmed it, that Aston Martin are in talks with Red Bull to use their powertrains from next year, because Red Bull aren't with Honda anymore. It's just they're creating their own engines. But then again, it's difficult. I think Aston Martin in the long run need to look at maybe producing their own engines, but it's costly. It's time as well. Regulations don't allow Merc to issue out high-performance engines without allowing everyone to have them. Okay. Customer team can only opt for previous season's engine grades if they wanted to save money. Okay. But there's not really too much information coming through from Sky Sports, I must admit. They're kind of just having general chit-chats. But Verstappen with a 29.8 cruising. See if Alonso can go on a glory run, eh? Let's go on board with Alonso. Where is he? So he's on a flying lap now. So if we see any purples, no, he's doing greens. Actually, no, practice isn't like this, actually, is it? It doesn't really give me the updated sector times, which is a shame. Does it do it compared to... Oh, we can do the comparison. So where it's green, so he is faster this lap. Oh, he is actually faster. So he should go purple. No, it wasn't then. Doesn't quite work. The comparison mode doesn't quite work in practice, it seems. Jules racing in green didn't last long. What's he racing in now? It's cool to see James Vowles as Williams team principal on Sky Sports. Hamilton out there now. But into the pits on soft tyres. So let's have a look. Sonoda's at the bottom with Piastri, De Vries and Norris. Will the McLarens work their way a bit further up the grid, or are they just doing race simulations? Other teams that they've got in motorsport disciplines, they have their own like hosted sessions. They do their own hosted sessions and have like competitions in the Mercedes team and the factory and stuff. And I think, of course, they all got together and went, well, why don't we have the F1 car in iRacing? Like, how good would that be? Because it was a... Oh, hang on. Wow, so Hamilton's saying he's struggling for grip. How much time are people finding? Norris, box. I didn't. I forgot. But yeah, why do I feel like I've raced against James Vowles before? Like, and I was like, oh, I recognise that name. I feel like I've raced him in F3 or something before. Right, so Piastri at the bottom. Come on, Piastri. At least give me some hope that you're going to do well this weekend. I think this will be an intriguing race, though, guys. I think even though Red Bull are quick, of course, and they're still the team quite easily to beat, Saudi always throws up a red flag, just with the nature of there being like little to no runoff and going side by side. There we go, Piastri. That's more like it. Hopefully we get an intriguing race. That's what I'm hoping for. But if you're new here, guys, and this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button. We do the watch-alongs. I'll be back for practice 2 this afternoon. Unfortunately, a little bit of news. I will not be doing qualifying tomorrow. I am going out. So, yeah, I'm not going to be here for that tomorrow, but I will be here for the race. So, yeah, we've got practice 2, and then we'll be doing the... Which practice 2 is going to be interesting. That's where we're truly going to see comparative times, similar conditions to what we're going to get on Friday and Saturday in qualifying in the race. But yeah, I won't be here for tomorrow, but I will be here Sunday for the race and all other races and many practice sessions that I can make. So yeah, you can hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. There's currently 58 of you in here, or 69. If you can smash the like button, helps push the stream. And we're close approaching 10k. Who's going to be my 10k? Who's going to be my 10,000 subscriber? FP2 is on at 5 o'clock UK time. 5 o'clock, Spud. So De Vries is doing quite well. He looks comfortable in the car. Didn't do too bad of a performance last week. I think it was 6 places gained, while not getting into the points finishes. He was close. So is there any updates? Let's have a look at Twitter again and see if there's any news coming through or any rumours. So yeah, the FIA have released their notes confirming that he's having to use a third ICE unit already in the second race, which means he'll get a 10 grid place penalty. Can't believe it, man. Yeah, not really much, to be honest. Practice 1, not much occurring. Might try to do the open race at 4 if anyone's up for it. 4? Is there one at 4? Is there? No. 4? What, 4 PM, Connor? Oh, sorry. When you said open race, I thought you meant the tour. I thought you meant the tour race. Got my wires crossed there. Just realised the F1 is on Mother's Day. Well, this is it, John. It's on 5 o'clock. It's on at 5 o'clock in the evening. So go see the mum. That's what I'm doing. Midday, early afternoon. Get to spend a good few hours with them. Then you come home and watch F1. Sorted. How long is left of this session? Only just under 12 minutes, guys. Just under 12 minutes. So, headline really is that Verstappen is first. Alonso is second. 2 Mercedes in 4th and 5th. Perez quietly going about his business in P3. Verstappen and Perez both out on track at the moment. And Verstappen only doing his outlap. Sainz down there in 6th. Of course, practice 1, as we said, it's not all about setting the fastest lap time. They're going to be doing race simulations, different fuel loads. Perez complaining that he doesn't have any front ends. So the front tyres do give away here. So this track is very hard on the front tyres because of how quick the corners are. They put a lot of load, lots of sharp changes in quick changes in direction. So that puts load more on the front tyres than it does on the rears. So you do want a bit more front ends to get the car turning in. Mother's coming in for food and to watch F1. Easy peasy, Connor. Covered both bases there. Hey, Mad, how's it going, buddy? F1 Mad, good to see you, mate. Welcome back. So they have got, who is she? I can't remember who she is. Bernie Collins. There you go. Former Aston Martin head of strategy, Bernie Collins, is joining the Sky Sports team. So the Scottish woman that you're hearing speaking on Sky at the moment is, yeah, Aston Martin's former head of strategy. So that's intriguing. But Max gone fastest with a 29.7. 29.79. Just going quicker and quicker, isn't he? Lance Stroll's worked his way a little bit up the timing sheets. Good to see Albon up there. Albon's doing quite well. This Williams, I've been intrigued to see how the Williams copes this time around, because this is a high-speed circuit, but it still requires quite a bit of downforce. But this year, they've moved the DRS as well, guys. The DRS detection 1. So remember last year, we had the DRS games with Charles and Verstappen. That's now no longer going to be the case, because they've moved the DRS detection zone just round the last corner. Cockpit cam looks so familiar. But yeah, a relatively quiet practice session, to be honest. No missile strikes this time around, so you'll be glad to hear, guys, and everyone else in Saudi. Sorry, I couldn't refrain from saying that. I mean, it's still early days. There's still 8.5 minutes left. Looks like Piastri found a bit of pace. Yeah, I mean, well, as you said, you don't know what fuel loads they're running. They could have had a high fuel load early on, doing race simulations rather than doing actual going for outright pace. But we are, what did we say? So 27.89 last year. We said, was it a 30.5? So last year it was a 30.5 was the quickest lap time in practice 1. So if we're going for a comparison, well, Max is 7 tenths quicker than last year. Or the cars are, really. Which is about on point, I think. I think that's about on point. Anyone racing in Interlagos in the F3? Best track ever. I find it great to low cell pedals and so much of your brain is freed up. Oh. I haven't raced F3 this week. I've been mainly doing F1 at Virginia Raceway. But yeah, it is a great circuit. I've never really been overly quick there. It is a good circuit though. Load cell pedals make all the difference, buddy. Glad to see you've upgraded your equipment, and the pace will come. Just with the confidence that you have and the consistency, you'll quickly start to realise that you can brake later. You can just be more confident and yeah, more consistent. So. We weren't expecting to gain too much here with it being managed straights. They're probably going to be as fast as the 2021 cars here. Well, they're already quicker. I think just naturally, just from the progression of the regulations and people developing, cars always get quicker year on year. So, yeah, I expect qualifying to be... They're around roughly 1.2 seconds quicker than they were last year. That's what we saw at Bahrain anyway. yeah, it's different circuits. It's going to be bigger and not as much. So, as you said, practice 2 is going to be interesting. That's more of where it's reflective in regards to comparisons of last year and, of course, what we've seen qualifying in the race. So, but only 6 minutes remaining. But yeah, if everyone could hit the like button, it'd be much appreciated, guys. We'll be back here for practice 2 in a few hours' time. If you can also hit the subscribe button, it mean the world to me. I know I keep saying it, but we are all just 10 away, or 11 subscribers away from hitting 10k. So yeah, be really appreciative, guys. Places like Silverstone, etc., they'll probably gain quite a bit on last year. Yeah, well, Suzuka, if it's dry, will definitely be. But everyone is out on track at the moment. Even Alonso coming out. Is Alonso going to come out for a glory run? Is he coming out on some softs? He is. Are we going to see Alonso glory run? Go on, Alonso. But track temperature is 41 degrees. That is hot for F1. That is hot. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hamilton nearly ran into the back of an AlphaTauri. Who was that? Was that Tsunoda? I think that was Tsunoda. It was an AlphaTauri. Nearly ran into the back of him. Oh, Lando Norris down in 20th position. 32-1. Definitely running some race simulations. This session hasn't been about outright pace for Norris. They're clearly gathering data. Albon out on the hards. Hamilton now out on the hards as well. Where's Alonso? Let's keep an eye out. So Alonso's still on his outlap. Stuck behind Stroll. Has anything happened? Not really, Monk. Not really. It's practice 1. Everyone's just probably gathering data and trying to, yeah, run race simulations. I think definitely Norris has been doing that. Practice 2, as we said, is going to be. I keep sounding like a broken record, but that's really where you're going to see relative times to and performance in regards to what to expect maybe in the race. Because it'll be similar track conditions. But yeah, as Connor says, no missiles, thankfully. Verstappen just gone quickest again with a 29.6. Alonso's been... this won't be a quick time from Alonso because he was stuck behind Stroll. So, but Alonso still showing good pace. Perez with a 30.1. Hamilton nearly ran into the back of an AlphaTauri. Charles Leclerc and Sainz not going for outright pace, clearly. Just probably running some race simulations. So yeah, practice 1's a bit like that though, to be honest. Unless someone kind of bins it, there's not really too much to talk about. So, hey Paul, thank you, buddy. Eltham, is that your last name or is that Eltham the place? I can't say I'm too familiar with it. But thank you, mate. And anyone else who has subbed and it hasn't come up as an alert, much appreciated. YouTube does work that way, where if you don't have your subscribers set to public, then I will not receive a notification. But appreciate you all nonetheless. And Stroll bops in with a 30.5. Stroll's going to be more on it this week, guys, as well. So that's something for the Mercedes also to worry about. I mean, Stroll was still pretty a dab handy last race, wasn't he? And he wasn't fully fit. So, yeah, Stroll was only going to get quicker and quicker in that car, the fitter he becomes. So, Eltham, South East London. Oh, okay, nice one. I'm Essex, mate, as you could probably tell from my accent. Is Mercedes looking better here than Bahrain? Too early to say. It is still too early to say. Practice 1. I mean, Hamilton has come on the radio and been quite vocal, but he's struggling for a bit of grip. Where are other people finding time? Doesn't bode well. Everyone in Mercedes seems to be quite vocal at the moment. I think we'll see in practice 2. But they're still just fighting for a podium. They're hoping that Ferrari, of course, have their issues, which they clearly do because Leclerc's got a 10-place grid penalty tomorrow. So they're only fighting like one Ferrari. And then, unless Leclerc makes his way through quickly, all depends where he's qualifying. And then, of course, they've got the Aston Martins. The Mercedes battle at the moment is with Aston Martin. Who would have thought that at the start of the season or before this season started? Red Bull are just clearly in a league of their own. They've just got so much pace in hands. So much pace in hands. Cockpit cameras are cool though, aren't they? The helmet cam. You can see how bumpy the circuit is. Even though it's a much smoother track surface than Bahrain, you can see how much like the Ferrari is bouncing up and down. I don't think that's generally porpoising. I think that's just the bumps of the circuit. But 19 seconds remaining, guys, of practice one. And, well, unless someone sets a stonker of a lap time, it is going to be Verstappen with, well, a Red Bull 1 and 2 quite comfortably. Especially with Max. Jesus, a 29.6. I don't think anyone went fully out. Even Max didn't go fully out right. But that's nearly a second. That's 9 tenths quicker than the fastest lap time. But we saw in practice one last year. So these cars are definitely quicker. And of course, that Red Bull is considerably quicker than it was last year. And everyone else as well. But yeah, the Alpines don't look too bad. Of course, Norris down in 20th position. I don't think you ever really truly want to be in 20th place in practice, regardless of the simulations that you're running or the scenarios. But I'm only going to assume that Norris has been running just high fuel runs, concentrating on the race or gathering data. Piastri up there in 14th as well. So hopefully they can show us something a little bit more for us McLaren fans in practice two. The two Alphas are down there at the bottom, Sargent. So Max actually does set a faster lap time, a 29.617. Just taking the mick, isn't he? He's just taking the mick. Red Bull advantage is bigger than any of Merc's in 2017, 2020. Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think we've seen this big of a margin so early on in a season in a very long time. Very long time. We in India can't watch F1. Oh, that's a shame, Gupta. That is a shame. Well, I'm here. You can hop on by here and watch along with me. This is the next best thing. Red Bull will get slower as the season goes on, so early days yet. Yeah, it is, Spuds. It is. I'm going to use this word quite often, I think, in the first half of this season, and that is going to be ominous. But they are looking quite ominous in regards to how quick they are compared to everyone else. I mean, the gap will probably close, but they've already got such a large gap already. That's the thing, isn't it? It's I just hope that other teams are able to catch up. Could argue Ferrari had the advantage in 2018, 2019, but F1 Twitter would disagree. I think they had the advantage, but I don't think they had no one's had an advantage such as this, have they? No one has had an advantage such as this for a long time. Not since Michael Schumacher. I don't think since Michael Schumacher days. When he would lap pretty much most of the field. Fingers crossed though. I'm a optimistic guy. I'm not pessimistic. I am optimistic, and I'm hoping that it's clearly Red Bull is still the team to beat. But I'm hoping this race. We always know this race, like Baku, throws up some shockers or some shocks. There's always like some red flags. There's safety cars at least. So that can always throw something up. And as I said during the week, a lot of these teams, their only opportunity, Aston Martin, Red Bull, Ferrari, their only opportunity to beat the Red Bulls this early on in the season is most likely going to be at the start, on the first couple of laps of the race. If they're able to get a better launch, get ahead of them. Are we going to see some desperate moves from the drivers, pushing the Red Bull drivers out, slowing them down, different tactics in regards to that's basically on the line, I would say, of like receiving penalties to slow the Red Bulls down, because they're not going to do it on outright pace. And sometimes I suppose you have to do that, a bit like in football. It's like, okay, well, if you play them at their game, if you play a better team at their game and play the way that, like, I don't know, let's say Southampton, who are bottom of the Premier League at the moment, compared to Arsenal, who are top of the league. Arsenal play very, very attractive, good football. Southampton go out and try and play Arsenal and play exactly the same way. They're going to get beat. So they have to try different tactics to stop Arsenal. And that's kind of the same with F1, I think, or with other teams. I think that's the scenario they're in. Red Bulls are clearly in a league of their own at the moment, and if a team gets an opportunity to get in front of them, then are they going to try different tactics on track to stop that? I don't know. Just saying, it's a possibility. Massive driver, even when Red Bull were trailing the Mercs by a good bit, he was still getting wins. I'm not surprised that he's this dominant. Well, yeah, exactly. And the best drivers in the world, you put a car like this Red Bull in their hands, they'll get the best out of it. They will get the best out of it, and you'll see the types of performances we see. It was quite clear that in 2021, Red Bull had a very good car that was equal with Mercedes. Look how far ahead Lewis and Max were of their teammates who were in equal machinery. I think it's no coincidence that you saw pretty much every race was a 1-2 in between Lewis and Max, like in either order, because they're such good drivers compared to their other teammates. So of course there's always development of cars being built or more directed towards a certain driver. That definitely comes into play as well. But generally, yeah, the reason why that happens is because the better drivers warrant that in the first place. They kind of earned that. So yeah, my only hope is that the regs are still fairly new, so development rate will be steep still. Yeah, that's hopefully. Max versus Lewis is like the Senna-Schumacher fight we never saw. Yeah, I think it will happen. I think we'll see another Max-Lewis fight for a championship before Lewis retires. I really do think we will. I think Mercedes have got the power, they've got the knowledge to turn it around. Just sounds like that they've got the wrong concept. Someone's convinced, or a team of people have convinced Toto that this would to stick with this concept, and it's clearly not working. And I know people have already said, well, Toto's maybe jumped the gun. Why has he come out and said they need like kind of to start working on a new concept? Well, good businesses in any business and successful businesses, when they release new ideas or when they have new products and stuff, the successful ones quickly realize and quickly change direction and acknowledge when something is wrong or when they've made a mistake. They don't let it hang out and see if it's going to work out. Oh, we'll leave it for another few months or another year. No, they cut their losses and they just start again because they acknowledge straight away that it was a mistake. Those are the successful businessmen and the successful people in all forms of life, really. They acknowledge that quicker than others who, you could say it's pessimistic, but it's also going, okay, well, I know straight away that that's not going to work out. And it seems like Mercedes and Toto Wolff has done that straight away. And the drivers and all the feedback he's got, he's like, nope, I gave it a shot. And clearly, first race, we are so far behind. We shouldn't be fighting for a podium. We should be fighting for wins. That's our aim. We want to fight for another world championship, get Lewis's 8th, etc., and take it back to Red Bull. They don't want to be fighting for podiums. They want to be fighting for wins. And to see themselves so far back already, they're like, nope, cutting our losses. Even if it's like means that this year is a shit year, we already start developing on the next year's car. Something along those lines, anyway. But are there any chance of Lewis leaving Mercedes? No. No chance. I don't think so. No. It would be something catastrophically internally to go wrong for him to leave Mercedes. Because the thing is as well is that for the only team which is outright in front at the moment is Red Bull. Lewis is never going to join Red Bull because of Max, and Red Bull wouldn't allow it, I don't think. Ferrari are not in a good position to take on Lewis. Lewis would just be going from one problem to another problem with Ferrari. They've got a lot to sort out themselves. Aston Martin are on the up, but then again, Lewis is never going to get in ahead of Stroll. The only way he'd get into Aston Martin is if Alonso leaves. And Alonso isn't leaving anytime soon. So Mercedes is his only best bet of staying, of winning races and winning a championship again at the moment. If Ferrari sorted their act together and all of a sudden started winning races and were considerably ahead of Mercedes, then maybe. But as things stand, no, he's not going anywhere. He has charities and foundations set up with Mercedes. Yeah, he does, but I don't think any of that is just to Mercedes. I'm sure all that stuff's probably transferable. But Merc or Red Bull, the only two teams you want to be with, really. Yeah, at the moment. Well, at the moment. I mean, obviously Mercedes are far behind, but you kind of expect that Mercedes have the knowledge and the people, and obviously you've got the cost cap, but the funds behind them to sort it out. I think Ferrari's like the only other team he'd have ever moved to. He'd never moved to Red Bull, never. But Ferrari's the only other team I can see him moving to, and they're not in a place to take Lewis Hamilton at the moment, or a place for him. I could see him saying, "Yeah, I want to go there." So they've got plenty of their own issues to sort out first. Since Red Bull had the win development penalty for this year, won't Red Bull just be developing their next year car? Yes and no. Yes and no. I think they'll probably still be focusing on this year's car. I don't think you'd be naive enough to sit there and go, well, because we won the first race by so much, that's going to be the same throughout the year. They need to be smart, and because stranger things have happened in F1. I still think they'll be spending quite a bit of resource on this year's car. If they've won like the first 6 races of this year, then they'll probably go, yeah, we can start working on next year's car. Like, it's going to take something catastrophically to go wrong for us, for the teams to catch up to us on performance, even with our cost cap penalty or our wind tunnel penalty as it stands. That's what I think. You'd be very naive to sit there and go, okay, just because we won the first race by so much, we're going to do that throughout the whole season. Tracks are different, reliability comes into play, but they did have the perfect start. 6 races down the line, then they'll probably go, yeah, we can start focusing on next year's car. Developing next year's versus this year is the same in reality because no changes like last year. It comes down to cost rather than wind tunnel. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's already... I don't know when they announce they're going to make any changes to the following year. That's the thing. I don't know when they do that. I think the FIA lets the season develop and unfold, and then they make changes on the regulations for next year based on the data that they gather for this year, based upon the changes that they made the previous year. So, yeah, it's not like Red Bull can kind of start developing too heavily into next year's car because they don't know what changes are going to be made to the regulations for next year. Like, if Red Bull, this is the thing, so if Red Bull go out, this is why we had a discussion early on about, well, will Red Bull bring back their performance a little bit? Will they sandbag a bit and try and not win as much as they did in Bahrain? Because if they win the next 5 races in the manner they did in Bahrain, well, the FIA could sit there and go, well, we clearly need to change the regulations to hamper Red Bull, as they've done to previous teams in the past, because it's not good as an entertainment and a spectating sport. Because ultimately F1's a business. And that means that there could be big regulation changes next year compared to possibly small changes. But didn't Merc do something similar in 2014? What's that? What did they do in 2014? Well, 2014 was the hybrid era, wasn't it? Well, Mercedes pretty much, from what I understand, I think if this is right, 2013, they didn't spend a lot of development time and resource on that year. They turned their engines for that reason, I think. Oh, what, in 2014? Maybe. They might have done. But I know that in 2013, they basically kind of used that as a throwaway year, and they put majority of their resources into the new hybrid era that was starting in 2014. They still picked up a few wins in 2013, but they knew they weren't going to challenge for the championship. That was always going to be between Red Bull and Ferrari again. It was about getting off to a good start in 2014, which of course they clearly did, because then they dominated the whole hybrid era. So why didn't they change regs when Mercs were dominating for years? They did. They did change the regs. The cars changed quite dramatically. If you look at the cars in 2014 compared to, I think it was 2017 was the year where the regs changed dramatically. The cars got longer, they got wider. We had the halo come into effect as well. And this was all to kind of make racing closer. And it did. 2017, so I think for 3 years, 2014, 15, 16, Mercedes dominated. 2017, 2018, 2019, Ferrari were much closer. I think people forget that, 17 to 21 era, like Vettel, Ferrari made a number of strategy errors, which cost them races, and Vettel made a number of driving errors as well, which cost them wins. Like you could say, I would say arguably, 2017, 2018, Ferrari had the quicker car. I think I would say Ferrari were quicker, yeah. I mean, they did kind of have an illegal fuel system, which helped, but they arguably had the quicker car, and they weren't able to convert it. Was on another level. Bottas finished 5th, yeah. And was it 18 or was it 2018 or 2017 where Vettel kind of lost his cool and crashed into Lewis in Baku? I mean, it was just moments like that as well that just let themselves down. Thank you for the sub, Brian. Much appreciated. And anyone else who has subbed, let's have a little refresh. Where are we? Sub update. We're 5 subs away, guys, from 10,000 subs. There are currently 86 of you in here. Surely there's 5 of you that haven't clicked that sub button. It'd be much appreciated if we could hit 10 subs, 10,000 subs by the end of this stream. P14 to P1 in Hockenheim for Lewis when Ferrari had the faster car. Yeah, that was when Vettel binned it, didn't he? He was in the lead and he binned it in Hockenheim. I remember that. Was that 18? Was it with Vettel? So yeah, I mean, this is what we might see here. I mean, we've got another big set of regulation changes coming in 2026. That's 3 years away. I don't know how much they can change to the regulations until before then, because that's when the big engine changes come into play. We've got sustainable fuels coming into play. The ICE system is being removed entirely. So we could one day see the V8s making a return, or the screaming engines, because we'll be going back to the sustainable fuels. The whole reason we went to the hybrid system was because it was more economically viable, and that's how kind of road cars were going development wise. F1 could be driving this 100% sustainable fuels, and if that's the case, then there's no reason why we couldn't go back to the V8s and the V10s or whatever. So that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Full circle back to those. If Merc had won the Ferrari would have won by 100 more points than it did. Yeah, Merc and Red Bull are the best operationally and as a race team, even if the car isn't fastest. Yeah. But Aston Martin are getting there as well. They've made some good they've brought on some really good engineers and personnel from other teams. Obviously with F1, with people that don't know, there is quite a long period of gardening leave. So as an example, Aston Martin, I can't remember the guy's name, they've brought over one of their head aerodynamicists from Red Bull. He had 6 months gardening leave. Then you have to, so there's a delay there. Then you have to think that, okay, he then comes into the team and he brings out all these personnel, they bring over that knowledge, and there's always going to be a delay of them implementing that knowledge that they've got. So let's say that's another 6 months. So that's a year they've lost from securing someone's services from another team. And then that isn't really going to be implemented until the following year's car. So there's almost like a year and a half in regards to knowledge being passed on from other F1 personnel. That's why there's always a delay. And we're now seeing that in Aston Martin, the personnel that they've brought on, they've got a brand new factory that's just been completed, and facilities, which is right next to Silverstone Circuit. All of that, you're now going to start seeing the benefits of. You could fit a lot of iRacing in 6 months garden leave. You could. Definitely be up to 10k by then. Dan Fellows, that's the one. Yeah, Dan Fellows. Looks like it'll be Red Bull all year. Yeah, we're hoping not, Dan. We're hoping not. So we'll see. We'll see. But 2 more subscribers, guys. 2 more subscribers. Who's going to be that 10k? Looks like Max is going to be Super Max this weekend. It does bode that well. Does bode that way after the first one. This Ferrari have got some serious pace in their hands, but I think all the teams are quite honest and open at the moment in regards to how far behind they are. Unless there's a reliability issue, I feel like that's the only way they're going to lose a race at the moment, is if there's a reliability issue with the Red Bulls. I just don't see it happening any other way. The most interesting, yeah, it's all about third place, really. That's really where it's intriguing. Is it going to be Aston Martin? Is it going to be Mercedes? Is it going to be the Ferraris? Of course, the Ferraris have got the pace on the Aston Martins and the Mercedes, but they don't have the tyre life. They don't look after their tyres. The tyre degradation is really poor. So they get ahead, and then they just slowly come back into the grasp of the Mercedes and the Aston Martins. So it's still early on in the season, though, guys. I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm trying to think of scenarios of ways that it's going to be like. And 10,000 subscribers. Oh, that is such a weight off my shoulders, guys. Thank you so much. So much. That has been a long time coming. The last few hundred subscribers have taken me what feels like forever to reach. So I just want to say a big thank you to every single one of you who's tuned into these watch-alongs and everything that I do. So 10k, I never would have thought it, especially on YouTube as well. It is difficult on YouTube compared to any other platform. So a big massive thank you, guys. Thank you. Oh, I'm so happy. You made my day, guys. You made my weekend. Looks like Ferrari bottled their car. I did see it, Level Up. It looks like Ferrari have bottled their car this year. I mean, a penalty in the second race. Yes. Yep. So this, as we were saying in regards to gardening leave and stuff, so even though they've got a brand new team principal in Fred Vasseur, he has in effect picked up the team and most specifically, he's picked up the car that Mattia Binotto approved and has helped design the previous year, because that they already start designing and developing next year's car like in April, May of this year. So he's already made some personnel changes. There's already been some people who have gone out of Ferrari. He's made a change to head of strategy. So once again, this is definitely Red Bull season to lose. And then Ferrari is pretty much about them. I see this year for Ferrari, okay, can they make improvements on development throughout the year? And can they, and one, become more reliable? And can they become better at making in-race decisions, strategy decisions, something to take forward onto next year? Because this year already seems is a write-off for them as well. It just doesn't bode well. But I'm sounding pessimistic. I really am sounding pessimistic. I really hope I can come back to this stream or come back to look back at the first few races and go, didn't we all just laugh, guys? Didn't we? Kaka, you've just gifted a sub to my lovely girlfriend.
Oh, I just saw that.
Of all people, she should be subbed already. Yeah, you should be a member already. This is shocking. Absolutely shocking. She says thank you, though, Kaka. Oh, Bruce Gray, thank you for the sub. And everyone who just subbed within the last 10 minutes there, getting us over 10k. Just want to say a big thank you. Notifications don't always come up on YouTube if you don't have your subscribers set to public. So that's why a notification doesn't always come up. But I'm sure she watches every lap of every race of yours, Scott. Yeah, you know, she's #1 fan. Oh, but yeah, big thank you. You've subbed on well over 10 accounts. Yeah. Well, I meant as a member. But yeah, thank you, Kaka, for the gifted sub. Much appreciated. Even when you went deep in Daytona, I know, SH. But that's why I think you guys like to come here, because I'm not your typical out and out very fast driver. I like to think I'm above average, but yeah, there's human moments in there. I think Alonso will win the Saudi GP. I think he'll win a race this year, definitely. I don't think Red Bull are going to win every race this year. I think there may be like a terrible strategy decision or something. It won't be good. I don't think it'll be good for F1 if Red Bull win every single race this year. Now, and I say that as any team. I don't think it would be good for F1 if any team won every single race throughout the year. Because think of how much that would deter brand new fans of the sport, or just people who generally only casually watch F1. I don't think that would be good for F1. And I think there'd be a little secret conversation, secret meeting that goes on between Christian Horner and whoever's running F1 now, because obviously MBS is taking a step back. But look, you need to hamper yourself in one of these races, like, oh, a screw comes loose or something, so that a few of the other teams can win a race. So, do I think it'll be a huge crash? Yes. I don't think. Well, is there going to be a huge crash? I don't know, but I think there'll be a crash this weekend. I think there'll be safety cars this weekend, and I'm hoping that there will be. So, yeah. But yeah, guys, I'm going to call it there. Just want to say 10,006 subs. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. Yeah, I've got such a smile on my face. Oh. Over 10,000 subscribers. Thanks, guys. But yeah, so practice one. Not really too much to talk about, other than, of course, the Red Bulls are at the top of the leaderboard, to be expected. Obviously, that's the Martins 3rd and 4th. Mercedes 5th and 6th. Difficult to tell if there was any quick runs in there. I don't think there'll be any quick runs. People trying to get, there'll be teams basically trying to gather data on the new upgrades that they've bought for this week, seeing if it's doing what they intend their new parts to do. And then yeah, this afternoon, practice 2, which will be in a couple of hours time at 5 o'clock UK time. I will be here for it. That's going to be more relative. That's where we'll see some quicker lap times, maybe some quali runs, because conditions are going to be exactly the same as what they are for qualifying and for the race as well. So yeah, but yeah, big thank you, guys. I'll be back here in a couple of hours time for Watchalong for practice 2. Be a little bit more interesting. Kaka, thank you for the gifted sub to yeah, my lovely girlfriend. Can't believe she's the one of all people who got the gifted sub. And a big thank you to everyone who subscribed. Once again, 10,000 subscribers. You've made my day, guys. You've made my day. Onwards and upwards, eh? Onwards and upwards. But yeah, I'll be back in a few hours. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button, turn those notifications on, and I will see you then for practice 2. Cheers, guys. Bye.